Hello everyone, this is Sagar Shah and I have some good news for you. Vidit Gujrathi currently playing at the Turkish team championship. His team is Turk, Hava, Yollari, Sport, Kulübü. Uh, and he is currently doing really well in that tournament. He's playing on board number 2 and he won his first 2 rounds of the tournament. And then he played the very exciting opponent Anton Korobov. Now Anton is known for his aggressive play and Vidit is known for his quite a solid way of playing chess. So it was a clash of styles. Vidit with the white pieces opened the game with 1d4. Korobov played knight f6 and very soon we were in the Semi-Slav territory with bishop g5, h6, bishop h4 and now he takes. In my database, when I was looking at this, I went through it and I found that Korobov has played so many games here. In fact, he has played against Cheparinov, Esipenko, Grishchuk, Moisienko, Molina, Peter Heine Nielsen, Pragnananda, Sarana, Swana, Vityugov, Yufa. So he's like a big expert in this opening, which also explains why Vidit went for this. This is a risky opening to go bishop g5 as white and then after h6 to play bishop h4 because you are going to essentially sacrifice a pawn. e4, g5, bishop g3 and b5. So what black is saying is that I might be behind in development. I have no development right now, but I have actually won a pawn and I'm going to cling on to it. Vidit says, fine, I have development and I believe in it. So I'm going to develop my pieces, bishop e2, bishop b7, he castles. And now always remember, I used to have this question, what if he plays b4 and takes my pawn on e4? It is possible to do this, but whenever that happens, you can play bishop e5, attacking the rook so that the knight cannot no longer take this. And let's say if f6, then this very strong move queen c2 is very powerful. So, and if you go rook, let's say g8 in this position, then already queen c2 and white will win this pawn and would be doing pretty well. So bishop b7 is the best, castles, and we have close to 4,000 games here, knight bd7. And here Vidit goes for a move that is not very popular or not very well known. Knight e5 is the main move and we have seen many games in this position. But he goes knight d2 and there are only 46 games here. This is actually the highest rated player who's played this is Magnus against Ding Liren. But Gukesh has also played this against Sethu Raman. So knight d2. h5 was played here, trying to trap the bishop with h4, h3. You can generally play h4 in such positions, but that gives knight the g4 square and Vidit didn't want that. So he played h3, now g4, now he closed it up with h4. Queen came to b6, a4, a6. And in this position, the main move that had been played until now and also the move that Gukesh played was e5 against Sethu Raman. And after knight d5 or knight g8, both positions black is doing pretty okay. Here Vidit came up with a very interesting piece sacrifice. He played bishop takes c4 and actually the engines suggest this as the best move. And also there are 5 correspondence games played by a player named Filin. He has played this for 5 times, all of them correspondence chess, all of the games ended in a draw. But in a practical game, this is a very strong decision. Maybe Korobov could have taken on d4 with his queen, but I'm sure Vidit was well prepared here as well. That was shown by his clock timings. He had more than what he began with. So take. In fact, Vidit was prepared even for more moves. Takes here. And now perhaps the best move in this position is queen a7. But Korobov went active with queen b4. Vidit played queen to d3. Again, an important move here. Let's imagine that you play a move like queen e2 trying to defend. Then knight b6 is possible. And here you can no longer play b3 like in the game, because your piece on c3 is hanging, so sorry, here I can take on c3. So that's the reason why you start with queen d3, so that after knight b6 you can now play b3. Very important move. If queen takes b3, then knight a5 already is very strong and winning, so you can't take that. Korobov went rook a d8, rook d8, and here Vidit found a very nice move, knight a2. In fact, this was the first move that Vidit had to think a bit, because there were other options as well. Bishop c7 was interesting option, but he played knight a2, and I think this is a great move, because now the queen does not have any of these squares. It has to go back, and knight takes knight happened in the position. e5 played, and now white played in this. So now white is back materially even. In fact, white has an extra pawn, so black is in big trouble. Korobov found the only move to keep the game going with e5. Vidit now could have got his queen out, but he took with the bishop. Queen takes, pawn takes, rook takes, and pawn takes knight. So we reach this position where white still is a pawn up, but now Korobov plays his bishop to c5. Vidit should have maybe played his knight back, but already the position is quite unclear, because there are two threats. One is to take this pawn. The second is to push g3 and pin it over here. So a5, g3, rook f d1, rook takes b3, rook a b1. So he took here, king f1, and now in this position it's already very, very complicated. But one of the main problems for black is the bishop, and you may want to activate it, but that allows the knight to get into the game. So that's the reason why Korobov first played bishop d4, attacking the pawn, also stopping the knight from coming to c3. Vidit went e5, very cool move. His point is that if you take here, I have rook e1, winning the game. And if you play something like c5, which is the most logical move, then knight c4, this is gets very complicated. Check, king up, I take the pawn, rook comes up, rook b6, and this leads to a very complex but equal position. Korobov finds another good move, rook king d8, knight goes back, attacking the bishop. So king c7 played, knight d6, and now rook comes to b8. So if black is somehow able to get in the move c5, he would be doing very well. So for example, if you take on f7, I go c5, already threatening things like bishop g2 and picking up the rook. So it's a very bad position. For example, if you try to save your rook, let's say rook d1, then I have bishop d5, hitting your knight here, hitting the knight, also rook coming in, and this knight also hanging. So lot of problems. Rook b7 was played by Vidit, takes, takes, king takes, and now came the move pawn push to e6. Here black took, and now Vidit pushed, and now it's a key moment in the game, whether you play bishop g7 or whether you play bishop c5. What would you choose? Try to figure out, pause this video, because this is the key moment, and actually Korobov got it wrong, which is very interesting. It shows it's not an easy decision. Okay, if you thought carefully, you would have realized that the right move here is bishop g7. The problem with bishop c5 is that Vidit found the only winning move here. Again, you can pause the video and think, what do you want to do here as white to play? It was not an easy move, and it's also tough to foresee this because it's a backward move, and it starts with knight c1, king c7, knight d3, hitting the bishop. Very key point here. The bishop was not attacked, this position would not have been winning for white. Bishop had to move, which gives a key tempo with knight f4 attacking this. So king comes up and now knight g6. And it's all over because the king cannot go back. Bishop is hanging. He tried to put bishop on g7. King came up. And after king d3, king d5, queens, it's lost position. Korobov resigned here, mainly because after takes, knight takes, he's winning. The right move in this position was bishop g7 because the same concept with knight c1, king c7, knight d3, king d7, knight f4, king e7 does not work because now the king is taking this pawn. You will see that knight d3 didn't attack the bishop, and this was the crucial tempo that was needed. So with this win, Vidit is now 3 out of 3 in the tournament, doing really well. And if you look at his rating performance, he's already having a +9 score. He's at 2728 and he's world number 21. So he's quickly moving back to where he was at 2732, and maybe he'll go even further. This is a long event. In fact, the same team for which Vidit is playing on board number 1 is Gukesh, who has lost 3 low points here. He drew 2 of his games. So Gukesh will be looking to also win some of his games and gain rating. But for now, I'll leave you with this. Vidit Gujrathi playing well, making a strong comeback, 3 out of 3. Let's see how many games he can win and where does he end at the end of this tournament. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye-bye.